Hey guys, what's going on? It's Russell again. So I am coming at you today with Marian, who's the co-founder of SidekickTraders.com. That's sidekick, not psychic traders, like everybody seems to think. Um, it's a stock alert service that we started last year, and basically the fun never ends, or really ever starts for that matter. But no, I'm just kidding. Go and check out the
Well,
link. Check out the link in the description below to come and join us. But just wanted to do a quick discussion with Marion. She does a lot of swing trades on penny stocks, and I was hoping that we could kind of go through some of your strategy and just kind of like look at some recent trades that you've been killing it on.
yeah.
So yeah, so I know you've had a really good track record recently, right? You showed me your results earlier, but it looked like you're
Yeah, I did like really good December, January, and to mid-February. And then the whole, penny market kind of just came down at the same time and
yeah.
didn't do very well. And then I would say pretty much all of June, it started to turn around. They kind of all fell under the same pattern
Hmm.
and are coming out of it together.
Yeah, that's good at least. It was foul for a while there, but
It
doing
was. It
better.
was
It's
bad.
doing a bit better. So yeah, so you do swing trading on stocks under usually about $10, right? It's like you don't,
Probably more like
yeah,
under five.
under five, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is mainly technical, right? Or do you use catalyst stuff in conjunction with the technicals particularly, or
So I listen to the news all the time.
on the squawk?
And if yeah, and I like clump tickers together. So if I hear, something with China education stocks or energy, I'll kind of know which tickers that I know
Yep.
and go check to see if they're running or try to catch them before other people pick up on the fact that they're
Yeah.
running.
That's a good strategy, like the rinse and repeat stuff that you're really good at as well, where you
It's
just like
yeah.
you're like intimately familiar with the tickers, some of them like
Yeah, and you get to know like how much range they actually have if they're gonna on a typical day move 7% or over 2 or 3 days,
yep,
7 to 10%, or if they just don't really do anything.
yep. And your goal is to get in early, right? That's like you're looking for
Yeah.
momentum, but also to try and get in early, so you're not getting the top of the move. You're trying to get position, and that seems to like really annoy you sometimes. And it's like you're always like, "Ah, I missed it. Damn it! It's ran like 1,000,000%, and I was gonna buy
Yeah.
it and I didn't." But that means you're being very sniper like, right? Where you're picking the stocks um that have the highest chance of running. So even though you're missing out on a lot of gains, you're also not taking massive losses because you're not
No.
chasing stuff. So it's good.
I've been leaving too early. That's part of the biggest problem. I'm
Right.
leaving just over and over again. I'll play it for a week or two and keep doing it. And then finally, the one time it takes off and blows through like all the price profit targets I had just left the day before for like a smaller percent.
Typical, eh? That's what I do as well. I think we all do
Yeah.
at some point. Like I'm really bad for it though. Like just you know what I'm like. It's as soon as it breaks the resistance, I'm like, I'm out. It's just like run
Yeah.
for the hills.
I've become more like that over time.
Right.
Like I
Probably
see a
those
little
bad
bit of
months,
green and
right?
I'm like, I'd
Yep.
rather take it than lose it.
Yep.
So
Maybe because of those couple of bad months there, like we
I
all
think
got kind
so,
of more nervous about taking profits when we have them.
for
So
sure.
yeah. So yeah, let's go through like a couple of recent trades and like it'd be pretty good to give current subscribers like a bit more insight into like these recent trades, and then anybody that's not joined the chat room right yet can kind of just see what your stuff's all about. So, be pretty good.
Okie dokie. Well, this one we just played recently, I think twice, Cambridge Energy CEI.
Yeah.
And the first time we took it was right here. And this bottom indicator is the fast stochastics
Hmm.
oscillator. And I try to find it when they're coming. This is over sold, and
Yeah.
up here is overbought.
Hmm.
So the K line is the orange. It's more of like the price action. And I think the D is more of like the volume in comparison to it.
Yeah.
But I kind of just pay attention to how they go. I don't want K to be like stuck under D and being using it as resistance. It
Yeah.
works better to keep repeating it when it's bouncing off it and using it as support.
Right.
So this one, I waited and look how this is like a good example of how the pennies were like stuck for months.
Yeah.
I hate when it does this. Sorry. Well, whatever. You don't have to say that the candles really, because what I was looking for was for the K on the weekly
Right.
to break over and them to both start going up. So somewhere right around here, you can see the date. I think on like the 3rd or the 4th is when we first talked about it. So right when it broke over, I was like, all right, this is turning around. They all got stuck with this February into March, and then it came right back down.
Yeah.
So this when we start, that's how I start looking at the charts. I start it weekly, and I see if it's right here and K just broke under D and they're falling, like I don't want to touch it. To me, there's more downside and it's gonna be harder to go up. I try to wait for them to be coming back up.
Yeah, that's cool.
So then the daily is where I went next. This is where I usually will start charting the more recent and past, highs and lows. And I try to use the yellow as like the key level. I change the colors as time goes by if I replay it.
Yeah.
But I try to find 2 risk levels, 2 like key levels, like somewhere near where I would like to take it, and then the different profit targets. So I had done this. We got in, I think, right at 55.
So your entry there was based on that red line, that bottom red line. Is that support from
so
like
I had
further
seen,
back?
if you look back here,
Oh yeah.
it was support here. It was support here. I'm sure if I kept going back, it's probably bounced from there.
Yeah, I see where it goes. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's why I start in weekly. I first, maybe I'll do like 1 teal line, 1 yellow, 1 red. Then I'll move into daily and I'll be like, all right, so how many times is this really like this? To me, does look like a good key level because it's played right here or bounced from right here a lot of times.
Yeah.
So pretty much shows that that's what we did. We got in. I think I got 12% on it one time.
Yeah.
And then I think I tried again right around here because I know that the daily was resetting. So I probably entered here when it came up.
Yeah.
I don't know, over here, and got out because now I thought, okay, well, now the daily is
turning over
and overbought and it's breaking the D. And then I think around here is when we took it again and I got that smaller move from maybe 65 to 75. I got out and then a lot of people stayed in though. I got, I think 12% and then 7%. And this ran, I'm not good at math, but it went from what, 68-ish to 84. So that's a good amount percent on 80 cents and took a 20-cent run.
Yeah. 33%, right? I think. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like even yesterday during the day, I shared this one because if you look to the daily, well, you'll see too. I bet the weekly, as see the weekly is the same pattern.
Yeah.
Everything was doing so good, and then they all just failed.
So on this one, why see those dips that are like lower than your red lines? Like, why aren't you using that like as a support level instead of like the tops of them?
Because when I'm looking at it, we're looking at it here. Like I wouldn't hold it that low. So
right.
the yellow like lines is usually where it's at. So yesterday is when it ran. So probably in here, this is the weekly chart. So right around that area is where it was trading when I started charting it. So this is like a tighter risk where I could leave, or if it respects it, like say I'm playing it here and then it breaks it a little bit. If it doesn't break this one and it's kind of like hugging this one, then I might add to it here.
Yeah.
Because I know that, okay, it's not failing this one too.
Yeah.
But I typically wouldn't ride it down that far.
So how many days are you holding these things for? I don't think I was that clear on the last one.
I think the first time maybe 5 or 6 trading days.
Cool.
The second time, I want to say about 3. It's hard because I can't see what I wrote at the same time as here.
Yeah, just roughly. It's kind of.
Like yesterday, I said that this looked ready to go. Like I said, the same thing. It had the same weekly pattern where it was just failing, started coming up. I knew it's a past runner too.
Yeah.
So to me, that always shows more potential that people obviously take interest when it starts moving. And even this one daily candles, 12%, that's -3. But I just try to look at how much range it has. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the moves are like 10-20% that you're capturing, but they look so small in comparison to the
I know,
previous. Like,
I
why
know. This
let
is
that
what, a
video?
46,
Yeah,
47% candle.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
could see it has potential when it wants to go.
yeah,
So this was yesterday. Oh, it's gonna be hard to find it. I got filled and I was pissed because I only got filled on 100 shares. A couple of us took it. And if you see, everything looks so different with that extended. I took it at 114.
hmm
So I noticed that, okay, the weekly turned around. The K is over D. It just bounced from it. So that's a good sign. It's using it as support. They're both coming up. So to me, that's less risky.
yeah,
It would have to have terrible news or something to just destroy all of this upwards
right,
momentum. The daily, it looked different yesterday. So it probably was down and coming up. And I'll keep going through to 4 hours. This is like kind of where it failed already because we played it here. So I
yeah,
probably saw that the 4 hour K just broke up. They were both traveling up. And then this ran 30 or no, I think 50%. Like yesterday, no one was looking at this. Like I
yes,
just picked
yeah,
it because it looked like it just really liked this area.
yeah,
And it had just run to here. But this is how I look at all of them. I'm
right.
probably over describing it, but I just
So so it was in kind of like a pretty tight channel. So like you knew that you'd have a defined risk, right?
Yeah, and I thought even if I had a couple thousand shares, there was a good chance I could even get it from 114 to 133.
right,
So to me, that's perfectly fine for 1 or 2 days or even one day into the next day.
yeah,
That's what I want. I want to just see them kind of not terrible volume where you can't get in and out, but I don't want to be chasing something that everybody else is chasing.
yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, a bunch of us took it at 114 and it went
No way, like
to
that's awesome.
170. Yeah.
Sweet, like overnight as well. Like you wake up and you get a
Yeah.
nice surprise. Like yeah, going up
And
nicely.
it's always interesting to see like how well they play like in the future or in the past. Because this I played like every single day probably for like 4 months.
Mm,
And I feel like it just makes me feel so much more in control when I know that even little wicks or like a little bit it
mm,
really just respects the levels so well. It broke right through here and then it used it as support. When it failed it rested here. Like I've had this charted for months.
yeah,
So I feel like it just gives you more, I guess,
conviction,
confidence and a,
security.
a
Yeah,
plan.
yeah, definitely. I think honestly, I think that's one of the most important things, right? Is knowing the stock and knowing like that it's gonna respect levels because then there's no hesitation, right? You know
Yeah.
that you've got that confidence, so you commit to it. Um,
And both sides, your upside and your downside.
yeah, definitely. I like the meticulousness of your planning. Like your thoroughness is pretty impressive with this stuff. Like you just completely, you know, you're like like a dog with a bone or something. You're just like just absolutely pinning it down every
it
detail. It's
gets
so
it gets
impressive.
easier over time. Like, when I first started doing it, well, first of all, too, I have, a lot of different watch list group stuff.
Yeah,
So these are ones that I check every day. Every morning I wake up, I'll see, okay, like this one we just played. I think we got in the 20% on IDRA. It ran twice. So I like to check them every single day. If it ran and then took a huge hit,
yeah,
I try to see when it took the hit, did it like it did right here? Did it fall right back on that old support that I had? And then I'll feel differently about it. But I go through these, I check them, I see who's, went down the most, who's moving. Obviously, they won't be this much. It's in the morning when I'm looking at it.
yeah.
A low float list. So all these tickers, like I've played them multiple times. I know them
Like the
pretty
back of
well,
your
but
hand. Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
I'll check like the sectors, but for stuff that like I don't, have charted, all I do is I check weekly. Is it coming up? This one actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, it
Has a
does.
nice range, right? It's on an uptrend. It used to take me so long to look at it, but you just do it over and over and over again all day. So this is how I literally would just go in here. I check weekly. I'd start here. I'm like, oh, well, I wonder if I should check the news and see why it went down so much.
Yeah.
Then I'll just get in tighter. I might change them a little bit. Like I don't like that gap too much. I wouldn't want that to be my target. So if you just sit here, it could take you just a couple minutes, change the colors or however you want to do it.
Yeah.
And then bam, you have a plan.
Just turn it into a rainbow. That's what I do. So yeah. Very cool. So yeah, a little bit of insight into the Marian's trading. Is there any reason you use the crazy K over D stuff as opposed to something else like the MACD or stuff like that? Just
I think because I've gotten so used to it, I started learning about it with Stock Geek. So that was,
yeah,
over a year ago. And I just think for me, because I'm playing mostly support and resistance on previous runners or stuff that's in the same like sector,
yeah,
I think I've just gotten used to looking for it.
yeah, yeah. It seems like it. And do you
And
ever?
it's
Yeah,
kind of
sorry.
easy, right? Like
Mhm.
support, resistance, overbought, oversold. And I'm not very
Yeah,
good at, math stuff or these patterns of, ascending or descending, whatever. Like I can maybe put a trend line on it.
yeah,
I can easily put support and resistance. So I think it's just kind of, the D is
yeah.
like a good indicator. Is it using it as resistance? Is it using it as support? Can we bounce from it? Are we stuck underneath? To me, it's almost kind of basic. I'm sure it's way more involved than my understanding of it.
Sounds like it's the best way to do things, right? Nice and simple, but like you're also meticulous with all the details. So seems pretty damn good to me. I should really start taking your plays more. I really should. I know
Well, it
you
might
say
be
that.
easier, like if you see what I'm seeing,
Yeah.
or if you look
Yeah.
at it and, agree that you see that. Like this one I just took, it's still, how do I change this? Oh, it's up here. Um, it's still same thing. This
Yeah.
is the weekly chart. So this one looks a little bit funny,
Mm.
but it was stuck underneath. This is a 52-week triple bottom. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool. It's been down here 3 times and it's ran massively every
Oh yeah.
time.
Huge.
Like there's not much downside risk. Like we're at the
Right.
bottom.
Right.
So this is still in play if you want to look at it, but I think this is where I entered. I think I'm up about 5 or 6% on it.
Cool.
But you see, it's
Yeah.
the same thing every time.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Pretty simple, though. The K over D thing kind of looks a bit crappy at the moment.
Like to understand.
Well, now if you look at it down the bottom there, like it
Oh,
kind of doesn't look like it's solidly crossed yet. And
yeah, this is the 4 hours. So the 4 hour, like
oh,
the last time the 4 hour reset, like it came down here and then it just crossed over and it obviously just plummeted.
yeah.
But it's at 2, like the lowest is 0.
Mm.
There's not much more. And if it does go more overbought, like your risk is from 114,
Right.
115, to
Exactly.
112 or something.
We should do a live or something with this stuff in the chat room. I think it'd be pretty cool. To go through this like live with the subscribers and stuff.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it'd be really, really interesting. Um, how often are you finding trades? Are you like, if we were to do like an hour of this kind of stuff live, would you be able to find something that fit your criteria? Do you think, or is it?
Oh, definitely.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, well, as long as like IWM and SPY isn't like crashing.
Right. Right.
But if it does actually, then I just wait for it to stop and then I go find one like, ooh, who
Right.
crashed the most? Did they land at a good area? Like, yeah,
This is
definitely.
cool because this would be like humble trader style, where she does the pre-market like stuff where she draws all the support and talks about and stuff. It'd be pretty cool. I might
Yeah, I'll
actually take
definitely do
some of your
that.
trades that way. I might actually commit to buying some of your stuff,
I
not
will force
distracted.
you.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. So we should definitely think
That's
about
a
doing
good
that because
idea.
I think that would help a lot of people. But depends if there's that many people around when we do it. But yeah, let's check with people and see.
Okay,
Pretty cool.
I'm
Um,
down.
yeah, so it's definitely a short-term swing trading strategy that seems to be pretty straightforward. There's nothing too complicated about it.
I think of it like this, like we could do this again.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
easy, you know?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, it's really cool. Doesn't look like you pay too much attention to volume though, right? Even though,
Um,
or do you?
of the day, I watch like the time and sales and I make
Uh,
sure, I don't enter if well, I do look at, because that's why I always have this big. I'll look at
uh,
the average volume
yeah,
compared to the daily volume. And like if there's, a massive sell-off, I'll try to figure out why, but not too
yeah,
much. I do use Trading View, but I'm just learning it, the volume trading
right,
profile,
yeah, yeah.
but that's kind of
Um,
new to me.
you're not crackhead day trading either though. With time and
No.
sales, right? Level 2, you're just like, oh yeah, big seller coming in and stuff. You're just kind of more
No.
chilled out than that.
I
So,
just honestly I won't try to buy in. These don't have any walls. Obviously it's after hours, but if I see a huge wall
right,
here, I'll wait to see if it's fake or if it goes
right,
away,
right.
and if there's a quote unquote big sell wall, I won't put, if I can't watch it, I'm not going to leave my order where there's 400,000 shares to be sold. I'd
Yeah,
rather take a few cents less
yeah, yeah.
than get stuck in that wall.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Anything else to add about to your strategy that we haven't covered here? So I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think if you're like my style where, you know, fancy stuff is not your forte,
Yeah,
I really think just learning to chart support resistance, finding an indicator, something simple over, you could even use RSI and not even use this if you didn't want to. But
yeah,
I just like the resistance and the support aspect of it, the K and the D and the coming up and down. But RSI is going to tell you almost the same thing. And,
right.
see if it works for you and try to do the same thing. Try to find something before it takes off, not while it's taking off and then it becomes a huge risk because here we know what the risk is.
You just have to stick to it though, right? It
Yeah,
sounds so easy, right? You're like, oh
I
yes, I
know.
have a defined stop here. If it breaks below this, I will cut my loss, and then you give it like an
Yeah.
extra inch, and then
And then
like
it's in hell,
yep,
burning
they just
your
dies, and you've
whole.
got
Yeah. So I've gotten a lot better with that over time. I used to really not let go of them. Just like,
yeah,
it'll come back, it'll come back. And more recently, when that happened in February, I wasn't going to sell everything. I was like, absolutely not. I mean, everything. They all just crashed together. So
yeah,
I took my time and I learned my lesson and I've gotten out of them. I think out of 15 positions that like crash at the same time, I only have two left.
yeah. That's
And
good.
they're not in that bad shape. I mean, they've been down for so long. So, but I
Yeah.
won't do that again.
Did you dig your way out like you've been doing, or did you
I
kind of?
couldn't even do that because they weren't going back up.
Right, right. They were just
They
yeah.
were just every day down, down, down. I
Fall.
tried to a little bit in the beginning, but then it was like
Yeah,
no point. I'm like, you know what? This is just, I'd rather use the rest of my money to work on other things to make money and just ride it out because they're all in the same pattern. They have to come back. Like they all did the same exact thing.
yeah, it makes sense. It's a good job holding through that horrible time. Honestly, I think a lot of people probably panic sold and blew up half their accounts and then
Yeah,
ran
I
away
didn't want to do that
crying.
because I worked so hard to get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that was crazy. But it's
Yeah.
weird. Usually the summer, like June, July, August, isn't that great for these types of
Yeah.
stocks. But
Yeah.
weirdly,
Really
it's doing a
great.
lot better now. So it's doing good. All right. Well, you got anything else to add, or I don't
I
really have.
just one thing really
Mhm.
quick is that I don't think, or at least newer traders, know that the IWM is the ETF for the small cap market. So you could see here exactly what happened.
Yeah.
February,
Yeah.
it came back in March, it came back down. So we're doing okay right now, and we've done okay this month. This is the daily chart.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's going to be really fun if we can break out of here. We haven't
Oh,
been
it'd be
able to. It
nice.
almost looked like a head and shoulders, but thankfully it
Yeah.
didn't come crashing down after. I really, at this point, thought like, oh,
Oh no. Yeah.
we're going down. But this is also why we did so good December, January, really starting in November. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, there was almost no stopping it.
Yep.
So I mean, we kind
Imagine,
of needed this, right?
imagine if it breaks down there, right? Because like you look at that tiny little dip, like that killed everybody in, earlier.
I know.
Well, look at those little dips, right? And then imagine somebody gets caught and this thing just tanks all the way down to like
I
140
know.
or something.
Yeah,
People will be like completely freaking out.
I
But
know. That's why I'm trying not to hold them anymore. Like I didn't know that this measured them.
Russell,
You know,
yeah.
there's an what is it? IWC, the micro cap? No,
Hmm.
I see that. Whatever. So the
Yeah,
micro cap is almost exactly the same chart pattern, but it's measuring even smaller.
even crappier
So
stocks.
yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I watch this every day. I try not to put too much on this because I don't want it to drive me crazy, but
Right.
I know we got to break out of here. Like if we do, it's going to be even easier to play these things.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, and if
That'll be
stuff
fun.
starts crashing and has bad days, and I just wait to see what took a huge hit, and hopefully it's not something that I'm in.
Always the hope, right? Always the hope.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, I think hopefully you've given current subscribers some more insight here. That'd be pretty good. Um, and like I said, let's do a live. I think this would be really fun
Absolutely.
because going through it with you and then you could take some trades or whatever.
Yeah.
It'd
It
be
helps
pretty
me
fun.
too to have someone else look at it in a different way than I see it because I don't
Yeah,
see it only the only way. There's so many different ways to look at stuff.
totally. Yeah.
So,
All right, cool. Well, thanks for explaining that swing trading strategy for us. And um, yeah, let's hope that the Russell continues up.
over
uh,
234.
mhm.
We need it.
And then I'll start playing some more of your stuff.
You should.
As soon as it gets
It's
super
fun.
bullish, I'll be like, "Oh, this is easy." I'll jump in and
Yeah.
like miss out all that part where a month of hell or whatever.
Yeah.
Just get the last leg. So, all right, that sounds good. Well, thanks for explaining that, and let's do more of these. Let's try and get some like trade recaps going and just
Yeah.
kind of
Well, we got to do the selling calls and stuff, selling
yeah,
options. We'll do that live
yeah.
on that.
Definitely, actually, like just sold my first covered call today. Um,
How'd you do?
not great so far.
Did
It's on
you?
Wish, WISH.
Okay.
So the options are doing all right, but the stock pulled back so steeply that this the covering part is holding me back a little bit at the moment. But I did do it a couple of times as day trades and made some to like offset the pullback in the stock. So um yeah, my friend's trying to help me like go through it and stuff. So hopefully I'll be more
Even the learning experience is worth it.
yeah
You have to do it to understand it. But they
yeah
definitely
for
help.
sure.
It's a nice little protector of, well, this didn't go as planned.
Right, right, yeah. It'll be a fun discussion. I'm just trying to get more up to speed on the covered call stuff. I've been doing a lot of put selling, which I find much simpler, but I know there's more upside to covered call stuff and should be interesting. I think it'll
Yeah,
be
I think
fun.
it's interesting too, though, if you actually want to hold something long and you don't care about the, swings in price,
Yeah.
it's a whole nother way to make money on something that you're holding.
Yeah, it's the same problem though that I feel like I was having with monthly dividend stocks where like I'd buy them and hold them and I'd get the monthly dividend. I'm like, whoa, this is great. And then the stock would tank. I'm like, what the hell's the point in this? Like
So
it's the
I just found out today, which
uh-huh.
maybe everyone knows this. Did you know the dividends come from the price of the ticker?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So if it's at $5 and they give a 50-cent dividend, then the
Yeah.
next day it opens up as $4.50.
Um yeah, yeah. So
See, I didn't
uh,
know that. That's like you're paying yourself, kind
right, yeah.
of.
No, it's crazy, but um yeah, so anyway, I'll let you know what happens with these covered calls, and see. But I
Yeah,
don't
and let
know.
me know so if you take covered, I mean, if you sell puts, because I want to try that too. I understand the concept now, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I've been doing a few of those. For sure, we should talk about that and go through some of the stuff I'm learning from this guy. I think it's pretty fun, but I don't really see how. I don't know. Everybody's always like, "Oh, selling puts, it's like passive income." And I'm like sitting there going, well, how is it different from swing trading?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not. Like,
It's yeah.
so like swing trading's as passive, and it's way less complicated. But I do
I
get
agree.
with selling puts, I do see the math that works out though. Like it does, you have got a higher chance in general, of winning, but they're smaller amounts and it's no more passive than swing trading. So
Yeah, and you're still locking up money and stuff. But I think like
yeah,
for me, since I typically only play small cap, it's a nice way to when, 3 months are terrible and nothing's moving, I wanted to learn it to find another way to make money when what I'm used to isn't doing well.
exactly, yeah. And for hedging purposes as well and
Yeah.
stuff
Oh
probably as
yeah.
well, like learning new techniques to get better basically. So
Exactly.
yeah. Um, well, we should probably wrap it up. There's probably very few people who have actually survived this long through the video. Looking at my YouTube stats, there's probably only like 5 people ever make it this far along. Just what happens with these videos. So
Yeah.
anything we say from now is probably going to be pointless. So we should probably just wrap it
Okay.
up. Great. All right. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you in the chat room tomorrow.
All right. Good
All right.
night. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.